Hello everyone, I am SDSR, faculty at Resonance Adventures, and today I am here with a poem from the syllabus of class 12th, and the poem for today is Keeping Quiet, written by Pablo Neruda. A very important poem with a very deep meaning. Friends, the theme of this poem is introspection. What do you mean by the term introspection? Introspection is self-analysis, looking into our inner selves, Hindi meaning Atma Manthan. So, in this poem, the poet Pablo Neruda emphasizes the impact of silence and self-introspection in making this world a better place. And these two can transform the life of an individual and the face of the earth. So, let's start the explanation of this poem Keeping Quiet, written by Pablo Neruda. So, the poet starts, now we will count to 12 and we will all keep still. Counting 12 means this 12 can signify the 12 marks on the clock, this 12 could signify the 12 months in a year, this 12 could signify the 12 zodiac signs. So, let all of us from our busy schedule take out some time for self-introspection, and we will all keep still. So, there should be no physical movement in any of us. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Face of the earth means on the surface of the earth. So, the poet is emphasizing that everybody on the surface of the earth, एक समय ऐसा आवे that let's not talk in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. Arms means hands and arms also means ammunitions. The poet is just telling, don't talk in any language. Don't move your arms and ammunition. ना अपने हाथ चलाओ, ना अपनी कोई ज़बान चलाओ. So the poet does not want any physical activity from anyone. If this happens, then it will be an exotic moment. Exotic is a fascinating moment, a striking moment. Without rush, without engines. So there will be no unnecessary running around. There will be no running of any engines, no cars, no pollution, nothing as such. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. It will be a very unusual moment for all of us. काफी अजीब सा लगेगा if there is no movement anywhere, but it will be an enjoyable moment for all of us because we all will enjoy this peace and harmony. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales. Now the poet uses some metaphor that it is we human beings who destroy the marine creatures and fishermen harm the marine creatures, and the whales signify the marine creatures over here. So, overfishing is done by human beings. We destroy the nature, we disturb the ecological balance. So, fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. So, it is this poet over here, it is signifying the self-torture. That in spite of the hands being tortured, the man gathering salt keeps on working. It does not have some respite. उसको कोई भी आराम नहीं मिलता है. But अगर now the poet says, if they also count 1 to 12, if they also realize कि yes, my hands are injured, let me take some rest so that next day I can work with double the energy. So this is what the poet is emphasizing over here with the examples, with the metaphors, and it talks about introspection. The next stanza talks about the people who are engaged in all sorts of wars. Those who prepare green wars. Green wars is the war against the environment, deforestation. Wars with gases. War with gases, the poisonous gases, pollution, excess burning of fossil fuels, and so on. Wars with fire. Fire is firearms, arms and ammunition, nuclear war, hydrogen bomb, and so on. So, human beings are engaged in all sorts of destructive activities. This is what the poet does not want from us. Victory with no survivors. Yes, a nice message that war is not the solution to anything. We are engaged in all sorts of wars. Green wars, war with gases, war with fires, and one more war the poet is talking about, war with oneself. हम भी अपने आप से एक जंग लड़ रहे हैं. But this war is not a solution to anything. And a time may come that victory will be there. If war is there, victory is there. But there may be no survivors to celebrate the victory. And if these warmongers, they also count 1 to 12, then what would be the outcome? Would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in a shade doing nothing. Doing nothing means no harmful or destructive activities. Shade and clean clothes. Clean clothes is an example of metaphor, it's an example of alliteration, clean clothes. So, with a peaceful mind, the people will be walking in harmony. Koi shatruta, no enmity will be there in the mind, and they will be walking like brothers. Brotherhood will prevail everywhere. भाईचारा चारों तरफ रहेगा, and there will be no destructive activities in the mind of anyone. और ये कब होगा? If all the warmongers, they also realize, they also introspect, and they come to know that war is not the solution to anything. So till now the poet has been telling us not to do any activity, keep quiet, not to move our hands, not to talk any language, and so on. Now he tells us the deeper meaning as to what is his intention. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Poet बोलता है that when he tells us not to do anything, this should not be confused that you do not do anything. What is the poet propagating? He is just propagating no physical movement but only the mental movement. Think of some positive action rather than thinking of any destructive action. So what I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. जिंदगी तो जैसे है चलती रहनी चाहिए. The life should keep on moving the way it is going. Don't stop living, but live after a thoughtful process. And the poet in short is emphasizing that look before you leap. सोच समझ के अपना काम करो. I want no truck with death. Because death is the end of everything. The poet is not propagating this. Poet does not want the end of everything. The meaning of your truck is association or relation. The poet does not want to correlate this term with death, because that is the end of everything. So what does he want? In this phase of silence, he just wants no physical activity but only the mental activity. Only think about the positive aspects and don't think of any destructive or negative impacts. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing. Yes, we all have become single-minded. We all have some goals, some ambitions in life, and we are moving ahead to achieve that goal. But the poet says, एक समय ऐसा ना चाहिए that we should not do anything. We should do nothing. So this nothing means no physical activity but only introspection. The poet is emphasizing only on introspection. When you pursue your goals, when you are moving towards your goal, just give a thoughtful process and then go move towards your goal. तो अगर ये सब सोच के करोगे आप, you will never face failures in life. Perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Very rightly said by the poet. Yes, we human beings, when we take any thoughtless, we do any thoughtless action, we take any reckless moves, then no doubt we are bound to meet failures. ठोकर तो हम जरूर खाएंगे. And when we meet failures, this is a time we regret, and then we realize that the cause of this sadness is our lack of understanding. हमारे खुद की ना समझी. Hence the poet says that when you pursue towards your goal, think about your actions, your deeds. अपने काम करने का तरीके के बारे में सोचो, क्या वो सही है और गलत है. Whether your decisions are going in the correct path or no. So this phase of silence is very, very important. And when you think and then pursue towards your goal, you do any action, you are bound to meet success, and you will never come across that time that why I did not think and do my action. तो वो समय आपकी ज़िंदगी में कभी भी आएगा ही नहीं, and there will be no self-destruction. Because if you do any reckless actions, बिना सोचे समझे कुछ काम करोगे, you will meet failures, you will become sad, and the cause of this sadness will be lack of understanding of oneself, अपने खुद की नासमझी का कारण रहेगा. And when a person is surrounded by darkness, then he threatens himself with death. So the poet is emphasizing that whatever action you do, think before you take any further step. No doubt the life is not a bed of roses. It's not a smooth path. Ups and downs are there. Difficulties आएंगे सामने. But how you tackle those situations, that is important. You may come across failures. Success is never overnight. You may come across failures. But how you tackle those difficult moments and emerge as a winner, that is very, very important. And then the poet very nicely gives a nice example from nature. And the poet talks about our planet Earth. He just says, perhaps the Earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. The poet tells that we should learn something from our planet Earth. Nature always remains at work. You all know that during autumn, the beauty of the earth starts to fade, the beauty declines. In winter, it is the silence of death. It looks as if the beauty of the earth is totally destroyed, is totally buried. But in spite of these bad times, nature is always at work and it is quietly introspecting under its earth beds, and it is just analyzing at how to change those bad situation into a bright situation and so on. And it is nurturing itself under its earth bed. And the next season which comes is spring, when the earth is the most beautiful place to live on. So this is what we should learn from our planet Earth. In a similar fashion, man can resume his activities in a better manner after silence and quietness. So even though a person is surrounded by difficulties, sadness, how to tackle that situation? Think properly, introspect, analyze yourself, and you will always be successful in life. And if each and every individual works in the same way, the earth no doubt will be a better place to live on. So this is something about this poem, Keeping Quiet, written by Pablo Neruda. And in few words, I would like to summarize this poem. In this, the poet visualizes a state of comfortable inertia, where he wishes for pleasant idleness and relaxation, away from the rat race, destructive activities and futile wars. All wars are unnecessary. He wishes profound silence that would alleviate is to remove, that would alleviate the sadness caused by lack of understanding and the threat of self-destruction. If this is followed, this will build a sense of togetherness. So friends, this is about this poem, Keeping Quiet, written by Pablo Neruda. So enjoy learning and go through this poem again. Introspect yourself always, and thank you everyone.